Afternoon, everyone. You're listening to WCEG Network on WCEG Talk Radio. This is Herman Anderson, and my co-host is Anthony Aiken. We are the Worldwide Community Empowerment Group, and let me give you our disclaimer. The topics and opinion are those of the show hosts and guests, not WCEG Network. We are a nonprofit and we would like your support. You may contact our office at 404-490-8646. And ways that you can listen to us is live on Facebook, follow us on Twitter. You can also watch us on YouTube Live and Facebook Live. And you can watch us at WCEG Network, WCEG Talk Radio. Those are opportunities for you to watch us. And today we are going to get started. I am Herman Anderson, one of the co-hosts. Then Anthony will introduce himself and we'll introduce our guests.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. And Herman, it's so good to see you again, my double brother. And you know, it's just a wonderful, blessed day today. We just want to let our guests know around the world that we appreciate you being on the show today. We have an unbelievable guest today, Herman, a young lady that has just been an icon, not only in her personal life, and I'll let her explain that to our customers and our clients, but a young lady that's dedicated to helping veterans deal with a situation that all of us are going to eventually deal with, the Social Security Administration, and how that deals in with our lives. And we have Miss Sunjia Dupree this morning. Miss Dupree, how are you?
Good morning. Well, good afternoon. How's everyone?
We're doing great. We're doing great. So good for you to be with us today. And you heard about my good friend Herman Anderson. We've been doing this now for about 6 years. And the show that you're on is the birth child of a wonderful woman by Miss Penny Rogers. And we've been doing this, like I said before, 6 years now with listeners around the world. So I want you to really be the queen that you are and put out great information for our listeners to hear today.
Okay, well, thank you for having me. I'm extremely happy to be here. I am in the state of Georgia and licensed in the state of Georgia. I understand your audience is nationwide. So if anyone were to reach out to me, I could advise you somewhat. State laws and policies differ from state to state, but I can truly help those here in the state of Georgia.
Well, before we get into the meat and potatoes, why don't we let our listeners know who Sunjia Dupree is? Give us a little background and snapshot of who you are. And then we'll get into our day's interview.
Okay, well, believe it or not, I'm a somewhat shy person. You wouldn't believe that, being a former beauty queen, state and national title holder. But I am still somewhat shy. So, be gentle.
So where you from?
I was born in the state of Florida, but I've been in Georgia for quite a long time.
Now, you said you were two beauty queens for, what positions were they?
I was Mrs. Georgia in 2005, and then my national title was Mrs. American Queen. And then after I won the titles, not knowing what to do next, I actually bought that pageant and became a state director here in Georgia, and then went on to be the national director for that pageant. I was trying to be humble and modest, but I see you're really trying to pull it out of me. But I'm a title holder right now as we speak. I'm Miss Peach State, and I have another pageant. And it's purely by accident that I won this when I was trying to coach some young ladies in this pageant and end up winning myself. I thought I was retired. And anyway, I have a national pageant coming up this summer in a couple of months. But anyway, yes, enough of that. I'm a veteran too, by the way.
Well, see, it's a beautiful thing because we may have some female veterans getting out and want to follow in your footsteps. So, you never know. You just never know. So, Herman, isn't that exciting?
It's very exciting, and we're glad to have you. And we have quite a few veterans on this show, and we also have non-veterans. But when you get 3 or 4 veterans together, it's you know how veterans are.
Oh yeah.
So let's move on.
Yeah. So why don't you tell us a little bit about what you're doing and how can you help veterans with their health initiatives?
Okay. A few years ago, my parents became Medicare eligible and didn't have any idea of how to maneuver through these situations. And they got me involved to help them understand, how to make the best decisions for themselves. And my mom actually is 66 years old. She's just becoming a senior. However, she fell off of a ladder at work many years ago and became disabled. And so she got Medicare much sooner than my father did, even though he's 2 years older than she is. So it just kind of forced me to figure out what was going on with for people who were disabled and also people who are seniors. And so they were my first 2 customers, which I didn't know would end up being customers, and didn't have any idea that I was going to end up mastering this Medicare market and being able to help others. But I actually enjoyed everything that I learned. And of course, we have to be licensed in our respective states. And I noticed each time I took the exam, I was scoring really high in the areas of Medicare and Medicare Advantage. And I figured I must be onto something. And so I just started helping others, and I enjoy it so much. My previous career was early childhood education. So I do have the patience to teach. And so that's exactly what I do. I don't just make a recommendation and throw somebody into something. If you're new to Medicare Advantage, you will get an education, you will learn, you'll understand why you're doing what you're doing and why it benefits you if I get an opportunity to work with you.
So, let's say a veteran is retired now and approaching the golden ages that they're starting to get Social Security, which when the Medicare and all that kicks in, what should they know or think about going into that particular time frame in their life, so that they understand all aspects of Medicare, Medicaid, Part A, Part B, C, D, whatever? What should they know?
Okay, so just some high level things that I would say that would be right off the top. First thing is everyone's entitled to Part A. As long as you have worked and paid taxes here in the United States for 40 quarters, which is equivalent to 10 years, you're entitled to Part A. And they'll even send you out a card that has Part A only on it. Then the next thing that I think is crucial is to sign up for Part B. I know a lot of veterans who say, I'm not doing it. They're not taking that Part B premium out of my check. And there are a lot of veterans who don't have Part B, and they honestly thought that was the right thing and best thing to do because they thought they were saving their money, which is not truly the best decision, because what they're going to pay in the long run is so much more than that Part B premium on a monthly basis. So those are the 2 most important things I would say. And then the Medicare Advantage plans, if you have Part A and Part B, I would suggest and recommend to take a Medicare Advantage plan because you're already paying for it. And so if you're paying a Part B premium, Medicare Advantage is free to you. I don't like using that word free. I didn't really say it was free. I said you were already paying for it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I heard that part. I heard that.
I agree with you.
Yeah.
Right.
And
So Go ahead. I'm sorry, Mr. Anderson.
I have a action case. I have a retired veteran. Her mother became had a stroke. This is going on now. Became disabled, and she's trying to navigate the system to get her mother's benefit, and she's very frustrated.
Of course.
Can you help her?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
So what are some of the things that she would have to be concerned with in her scenario?
Well, first, there would be some questions that I would ask. I would ask, is she low income? If she is low income, she would qualify for Medicaid. And then if you are fortunate, I know that's kind of not fortunate to be low income, but if you are fortunate enough to be what we consider dual eligible, that means you have Medicare and Medicaid, then 100% of your health care bills are paid, because Medicare will pay 80% and Medicaid will pay 20%. So it's a good situation to be in. So that would be the first thing I would find out if she qualifies.
In her situation, her mother is she's a mother caretaker because her mother is disabled.
Okay.
So that would be part of the issue. That is part of the issue she's dealing with.
What does Social Security consider low income? Is there a particular income range that people need to know about?
Well, there are several levels of Medicaid, Medicaid, which is what we're speaking of right now. They have these acronyms, FBDE, QMB, Slim B plus. It just means you can fall into one of those categories. And so if you make under $1,500 a month, you might have a high level of Medicaid, and anything less than that, you're falling into different categories of Medicaid. And so someone getting a Social Security check of around $700 a month, $800 a month is going to get the highest level of Medicaid and qualify for the most benefits, if that makes sense.
Okay. Yeah, that does make sense. That's it. I have a question.
So Anthony, do you have her contact information I can get from you?
I was going to ask her to share that with our clients, our customers. Can you do that?
Okay, I can do that. So on Facebook, I'm Sunjia. It's spelled Sunjia, and my maiden last name is Jackson. Just Jackson, Sunjia Jackson. That's how you can find me on Facebook, and Instagram the same. And then I love text messages, because no matter if I'm on another call or in an appointment with someone else, I will have your phone number and your name. And so you can text me at 404-667-7798. And then I also have an email address, and that is Sunjia, Sunjia .Dupree, DUPREE @gmail.com.
Okay.
That's great information. I received a call not long ago from a veteran, and I couldn't really answer the question, but the veteran said, look, I am 100% total and permanent and unemployed. If something were to happen, and by the way, this veteran and his wife both received Social Security. So this veteran said, if something happens to me, what goes on with my Social Security for my family? Does it roll over to my family? Does it end? Can you enlighten our listeners to what goes on with that?
Yes. So with the husband and wife, if the children Okay, let me talk about the children. If the children are under 18, then the children will receive benefits. If the children are over the age of 18, they no longer qualify for the benefits, but the wife could possibly. So the wife, if she's not a senior yet herself, or she's not receiving Social Security yet, she can receive her husband's Social Security. And then once she becomes of age to receive her own Social Security, they will make a determination based on whichever is greater, and she'll receive the check that is bigger, basically.
Oh, really? Okay, so in this scenario, and I don't know their situation, if he's making more or not, but if he is the higher income person, received a higher Social Security, and he leaves, and say hers is less, his will roll over to her.
She will receive his and not hers.
Oh, that's fantastic. That's good information to share.
Let me, I got a veteran group, and I have people come and make presentation about Medicare and Social Security. And I have several people that represent in insurance companies that have came and presented that, like you say, they knew the word free, and I don't like free. So, I'm trying to get to the point is if a veterans have both their retirement and they are disabled, what is the advantage of them getting paying of, well, this person say you don't have sign up for Medicare. Is there an advantage to that?
I would think it is, only because even with being retired and also being disabled, they may not have benefits like a free gym membership. They may not have the benefits such as free eyeglasses or free dental. It just depends. Every situation is different. No two situations are alike. That's just based on a personal assessment. But say if a person is not 100%, maybe perhaps they're 50%, they may not have TRICARE for Life. I understand TRICARE for Life is the best and you have everything, eyeglasses, dental, everything, but everyone doesn't have that. And so for the ones that don't have vision benefits, hearing aid benefits, dental benefits, the free gym membership, it's not going to cost them anything additional to sign up for a Medicare Advantage plan. If they already have Part A and B, that's just something given to them to say, hey, thank you for your service. Thank you for your hard work. Thank you for paying into the Medicare and Medicaid systems. And you just sign up for it. It doesn't cost anything additional.
Well, I tend to ask questions until I get an answer I understand. And I understand that answer. I've been hearing that presentation for 4 or 5 years now. And number one, I didn't really look into it, but I clearly understand it now, so thank you.
You're very welcome.
There's one other question. That's pretty good, Herman. There's one other thing I'd like you to expound on, because I don't think a lot of veterans understand this. The VA disability system and qualifications and ratings are totally different from that of the Social Security Administration.
Yes.
So our veterans need to know and understand that. They also need to understand that if they do receive 100% total and permanent disability and unemployment and all that from the VA, that they still can receive the VA disability compensation. Can you expound on that?
Yes. So thanks to our wonderful President Barack Obama, veterans became eligible for VA benefits and Medicare benefits. Veterans can get both. And I know years prior, you could not have both or couldn't get both. But now they work pretty well together. The two systems do not talk to each other at all. So sometimes the management of care can be tricky, but that's where I come in. So you can keep your doctors at the VA. You can continue to get your prescriptions filled and pick them up or have them mailed to you for free at the VA. But you can also have doctors in your own community where you're just driving right around the corner to the doctor's office in your community, opposed to driving down to the VA. Some people who may live in rural Georgia are driving 100 miles to get to the VA. When they don't have to do that, they can go to a doctor right there in their city. Those doctors can write prescriptions. The thing that I would tell someone is you take the prescription that your primary care doctor writes for you, take it to your doctor at the VA. They simply rewrite the prescription so that it is free to you and you're not having to pay any kind of copay for your prescriptions. So there are little tricks to get it done, but it can be done and still be, you know, a win-win situation for the veteran.
Has to be a win-win situation for the veteran, but that's only going to come from having the knowledge,
Absolutely,
and the understanding of the system and what the benefits are to not only to the veterans, but to the veteran and his family.
that's right.
Because that's so important. I know veterans that have receiving both. So what you stated is very true in regards to Barack Obama. I'm one of those veterans that receive it that way. But
So let me ask you a follow-up to that question how can veterans get the information that you just gave us? Does it have to be like a call you, or is there other resources available?
There are a million resources.
Mhm.
However, I would like to be the first call.
No problem.
Well,
It's just about education.
Yeah.
And I trust that I can educate a lot better than most agents, me being a veteran myself. So I'm on the inside. I'm not just an outsider who knows a little bit. I'm on the inside as well. And so I know how to make the two systems work for your advantage.
So, like I said, I have a veteran organization. So, how many calls?
I can take the calls. It just may take me to schedule
Okay.
until I can talk to everyone.
Okay.
I can do group presentations as well, but I'm also open to one-on-one, and I'll just schedule it until I get to talk to everybody. Education is key.
that's
Well,
key.
I would definitely like to have a Zoom presentation. So
That'll be nice.
You know, in addition to that, veterans and their family members could go online to My Social Security, and if they don't have an account, open or create an account, and then they can really find out a lot about the benefits in regards to Social Security. The same thing can be done. The same thing can be done for the veterans for VA type benefits. The key factor that Herman and I always talk about is for an individual who's trying to get the VA type benefits is to get a veteran service organization to provide the support. What I found out, the Social Security Administration does not have a group like that that advocates for the veterans, but you have to go out on your own, click on My Social Security, generate an account, and then move forward. But for those veterans that are seeking information for the disability side, they can go and sign up for e-benefits, and Herman knows about this very much, sign up for e-benefits and find out as much as they can about not only starting their claim, but following their claim and taking a look at many other aspects in regards to veterans getting their benefits and their compensation. So as you said before, there's millions of information out there, but it's going to take the part of the veteran and the veteran's family to step out there to be educated.
That's correct. I don't see anybody knocking on doors saying, hey, I'm here to help you. You got to go look for it. You have to find it. And if you don't, you'll just be without. You'll be the one to suffer because you don't know how to get the knowledge. As you're speaking, the My Social Security, that website is ssa.gov. And also when you go on ssa.gov, you can click on apply for disability. And so you can apply for disability also through the Social Security Administration, as well as applying for those benefits through the VA.
Yeah, and that could be some significant income to a family, especially, when you go in and apply for the disability claim. Actually, the Social Security Administration, in my case, literally went back to the date of my disability.
That's
it up. So
right.
that, for those individuals that, like Herman, got 100 years in the background, that could be a significant check.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah,
Definitely.
It can be. And let me just take a break. And there's one other thing that I want to tell our listeners about. This is going on in the Georgia legislature at this time. The Georgia, one of our senators, Senator Davenport, has introduced a bill to advocate on behalf of families for more home ownership to help stabilize families, as well as close the wealth gap in our communities. This is an announcement that she sent me. We have a coalition of other organizations that have joined in our effort. We have been steadily working and glad to report to the group that Senator Gail Davenport issued legislation to support down payment assistance using the American Rescue Plan down payment assistance program to help create affordable housing. And it concludes by saying, we are happy to report we are having a Senate hearing on the bill SB 491 on Monday, March 7 at 3 p.m. Please support. So this is another way to support affordable housing and helping families get into that. And let me also remind our listeners, you're listening to WCEG Network. We are WCEG Talk Radio. We are the worldwide community empowerment group, and you can watch us on Facebook, YouTube, or you can go to WCEG Network, WCEG Talk Radio. Thank you, and we will continue.
Well, that's always good information, Herman, for our listeners to know, because, Mr. Prius, this is a labor of love that Herman and I are fortunate to provide to our listeners. A labor of love because just like you, we're veterans, and we take this personal. We're not paid for this. This is something that we do because we love it. So having someone like you with your expertise to be able to come in and provide us disability benefits information from a Social Security standpoint and how it ties into the VA is, as we said in the military, key and essential. It's very, very important. So is there anything that we're missing in regards to what the veterans should know in regards to healthcare for Medicare, Medicaid, or Medicare Advantage?
Yes, there is something else that I think is really important. So when you turn 65 and you become Medicare eligible, and it's time to choose that Part B enrollment, a lot of people don't at the time because of the Part B premium, which 2022, it went up to $170.10 per month.
Yes.
But a lot of veterans choose not to take it at that time, and they think they could come back and take it at a later time. But that's not a good idea, because there is a Part D penalty for not taking it when you became eligible at age 65. So
whoa. You need to explain that one. A penalty?
there's a penalty. It is 1%. It is charged every month beyond your 65th birthday that you did not take it. And so if you thought 2 years later you want Part B now, there's a penalty for not having it, and it will be on top of the $170 that you're already responsible for paying. So a lot of veterans also get messed up when there's no prescription drug coverage. You have to have prescription drug coverage. You cannot get around it. And so if you have it through the VA, that's wonderful. And if you don't have it, you have to sign up for a standalone prescription drug plan, which a lot of the private insurance carriers provided, where you could purchase a Part D prescription drug plan, a standalone plan. But if you can get it through the VA, that is best, because of course, there are a lot of veterans that can get their medications free. And I know some who don't have 100% have a copay for some of their medications as well.
Boy, that's interesting information right there.
Woo. It is. Let's talk about spousal and survivor benefits as it relates to what we've been talking about so far. Is there different rules for the survivor when it comes to the benefits of Medicaid, Medicare, and Social Security?
No, when on this side of things, not on the veteran side of things, but on this side of things, meaning the Medicare side of things, it's an individual thing. You're looked at as an individual, and it's not spousal. There's no shared benefits. It's based on each individual and how much time they have worked, paid into the system, that kind of thing. It's not spousal at this point.
So if spouse, if one person has deceased and the spouse applies for disability or Medicare, Medicaid so it would be based on what they have done in the past on the record.
Well, if you're speaking of a death of a spouse, then that is determined by the Social Security Administration on how that will be handled. But living, both spouses living, then they each would have their own benefits through the Social Security Administration.
If both of them are living and one of them passed, then the one that living would have to go through the Social Security Administration and see how it works out.
Correct. They'll at that time make a determination of how the surviving spouse would be paid, and usually they're paid the higher amount, the higher check. Whichever spouse has worked the longest, earned the most income, paid the most in taxes, that would be the proceeds that the spouse would receive on a monthly basis based on their spouse.
That's
good. That's clear.
Yeah, that's clear. There are two questions that I have, Mr. Dupree. The first one deals with long-term health care. Now, if a person is 100% disabled, total and permanent, they're going to be taken care of by the VA, et cetera. But let's say a veteran is not in that category and becomes to the point that they need long-term health care. Does Social Security provide any support to that veteran and the family?
Not to my knowledge. I want to say no, but I don't know if there's some cases that exist where it's possible, but no. It's mostly short-term needs, not long-term care. And that's where Medicaid would come in. If a person is low income and can qualify for Medicaid, then their Medicaid benefits would jump in and help in that area.
Well, I guess that would tie into my second question, because low income, let's say homeless veterans, how are they covered, assisted with Social Security or Medicare, because they served in the military. They may have worked 40 quarters, 10 years, but now they're homeless. And for whatever reason, we don't know, but how will that veteran be taken care of, male or female, that fits into that category?
Well, most of those veterans are not covered only because they may not have the resources. They don't have computers to log on and create an account and apply for these benefits, and they don't have anyone to guide them on where to go, how to do it, what to do, and they simply do not do it, and they accept their situations the way that they are because they don't have the resources or may not have the help. However, I do know, libraries would allow those homeless veterans to come into the library and use the computers, but still, sometimes that's not enough. They need a little bit more help and a little bit more guidance, a little bit more information, and just speaking with someone who's knowledgeable, who can tell them what to do. And sometimes, depending on the situation, I can do it for you. I don't get into the habit of just doing everything for everybody. I do like to teach you how to do it, teach you how to fish, so to speak, so that you understand how to maneuver through the situations and through the system. But I do know how to do it. I do know how to apply for the extra help, apply for Medicaid, apply for Medicare, apply for your Social Security. And those homeless veterans just need some help. They just need a little extra help and a few more resources. And so they exist. Those resources are out here. They just have to run into the right person to get them.
Yeah, we have a lot of homeless veterans, And I agree with you. If they're in that category, they may not have access to computers or cell phones or anything to get the information. Mm-hmm. So we do need to provide them support, because I wonder sometimes, and maybe you already know, Herman may know, but let's say a homeless veteran in Atlanta, any city in the United States, goes to an emergency room or hospital for whatever treatment. Are they asked questions to the point that, are you a veteran? Which would put them in a different category as far as receiving care. Do you know if that exists in anywhere?
I can't personally speak to that, but I myself had a personal situation where I had just been released from the military. I moved here to Atlanta. I was expecting my first child. I had a miscarriage, lost a baby 32 days after my discharge, did not have insurance. And I was told at my discharge to make sure I get insurance coverage when I get out. And hospital gave me a bill. No one asked me if I was a veteran. No one asked me anything. Of course, I was still billed. They ended up having to write it off because I wasn't even employed yet. I was just discharged and expecting, and I was not seeking employment yet. And so I ended up in a really bad situation where I didn't have healthcare coverage. I didn't have the VA coverage. I didn't have any kind of coverage. And so I just got caught in a really bad place at a really bad time. And no one asked me.
That's
so.
Yeah.
Let me add to that, Anthony, particularly in Cobb County and Clayton County, which I'm familiar with, because the veteran courts and also the sheriff in Cobb is a new sheriff. You know who he is.
Yeah.
And our friend David is put on a task force with them. So the answer is no in those two counties. That, and he's putting a system in place to identify veterans, but those two counties, I know that they don't ask.
Yeah, yeah. You know, there are over 700,000 veterans in the state of Georgia alone. And I guarantee you that out of that 700,000, probably 60 to 65% of the veterans are not well educated in regards to benefits and compensation. So every time we have the opportunity to bring on an expert like yourself, or the opportunity to discuss subjects of importance for veterans, that's what we try to do. Because understanding and learning the benefit coverages, man, that's so important to a family. And that's so important to understanding what support you can get, just like you stated. A lot of things out there, but they just need to seek it out and move forward with it.
Anthony, one other question we got is, how do they avoid paying Social Security penalties for not having outside health care to be in compliance to Medicare?
Good question.
Is that do you understand that question?
I see it in the chat. Let me read that. Someone who has TRICARE, which I see it was former Champus, if she has TRICARE, she won't have to pay Social Security penalties as long, because she has everything. She has, or he or she, I'm sorry, I shouldn't just say she, but if you have TRICARE, you have everything and you don't have to take the Social Security benefits if you so choose not to. And then if you don't, you won't have any penalties.
What if you don't have TRICARE? And someone is applying for it, even they may not be a veteran, but they're applying for it. Is there certain rules that apply to them?
Yes, and that rule is just when you're turning 65, you can sign up for Medicare 3 months prior to your birthday, the month of your birthday, and as far out as 3 months after your birthday without a penalty.
Okay.
Well, you know, most veterans, and going back to the situation where, you know, the veterans are paying for that Part B, that $170 a month, it's very, very important that they understand the differences of getting the additional coverage or not taking the coverage, because the information you reported about the 1% per month penalty for those that did not accept it, that's important information. You know, that could
be right, because because we're all just going to get older, and as we age, when you turn 65, you may not need glasses at the time. You may not need hearing aids at the time. You may not even, you're probably driving everywhere, and you don't need that additional transportation to get to your doctor's appointments. These plans also offer an over-the-counter benefit, and that's where you're allowed to go and shop in a pharmacy and pick up the things that you need. When you're 65, you might not need Depends, but when you're 80 or 85, you may need these resources. So it's better to take it now and have it than not take it, and now years later you need it, but you can't get it.
So let's say, for instance, that as far as the Medicare is concerned, if a veteran needs some type of prosthetic device or wheelchair or walker or whatever, all that will be covered under the disability benefits for an eligible veteran?
That's correct.
Okay, that's important information, because I know, having gone through some scenarios with veterans that didn't do what they should have done, it was very detrimental to the families, very hard on the families, because we're all guaranteed one thing: we're going to die. And, you know, we need to be in line and prepare ourselves, not only with having access to our DD Form 214 that we always talk about, but
Right.
understanding the rules of engagement of the benefits and compensation you can receive from both the VA and Social Security.
So I'm looking at the chat and I see, yes, it is key to sign up at 65 when you're eligible. And now 10 years later, when you're 75 and you want it, and say if you're not low income, you will pay the penalty. And 10 years of penalty, it's not worth it. And so most likely you'll just end up without the benefits that you need at age 75. Now, if you're 75 and you say, hey, I want the benefits now that I should have signed up for when I was 65, but you happen to be low income, your penalty will be paid by Medicaid. And also it's a possibility that that Part B premium, that $170.10 can also be paid for you as well every month. It depends on your income. And I find that situation a whole lot of times where people have no idea that they qualify for Medicaid, and I do the Medicaid application for them. I get them out of the penalty, and then I also help them keep that $170 a month in their check where it's not being withheld. So that is very important to know.
The previous question that you was answered for Anthony regarding prosthetics. So if you are veterans and you're having trouble with the VA and you have this other plan, then you can use that. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Because that happens a lot.
Mm-hmm. When I sign someone into a Medicare Advantage plan, immediately after we do the application, I do a healthcare assessment, and I ask a series of medical questions because the insurance carriers want to know how they can better serve you and make sure that you're being served properly. All of your medical needs are being met, especially if you have any unmet medical needs. And so those questions I'll usually ask: are you diabetic? Do you have heart issues? Do you, I ask a whole series of questions and determine, depending on how you answer those questions, you may get oxygen and you didn't know you needed it, or you needed it and you couldn't get it, or you may get a wheelchair at this point. You may get things that you needed. Just maybe a walking cane that you need that you didn't have. But these carriers, they do care, and they will serve your needs depending on what you need once you sign with one of them.
This is 2022. And I want our listeners to know that perseverance is key and essential when you're dealing with the VA and you're dealing with Social Security. The reason I say that, because there are millions of veterans every year whereby their claims are denied first time. So that's when I'm saying that you need to be diligent, to press forward, because even now in a COVID scenario, it's going to take even longer because of the lack of people that they have working at the VA and the lack of people that they have working at Social Security.
Absolutely.
A lot of folks are now just working from home, and they're just overwhelmed with calls and texts and emails. So my point is, be due diligent, stay the course, get people to help you to understand how to navigate this governmental system, which is really designed to help, but because of the scenario we're under, it's not helping. because of delays. So just be due diligent. That's all I want to do.
Well, there's something else I want to say. I know you can tell that I'm an advocate for Medicare and for Medicare Advantage, and I am. But there are people out here who are just the opposite of me and believe in just the opposite. They believe Medicare is the devil. They think Medicare Advantage needs to be done away with, and they'll do anything to get rid of the benefits, get rid of the system. And they believe in, let's say, supplements, Medicare subs. I don't think that works for our veterans, and I don't think that works for our people of color. And I say that because we have gaps, we have needs that aren't being met. And Medicare and Medicare Advantage just kind of helps fill in those gaps, and financially more beneficial to us, those that don't have a whole lot of money. I don't know a whole lot of veterans that are wealthy. You know, I know even high-ranking officials still wouldn't consider themselves rich. And so that's why I am an advocate for Medicare and Medicare Advantage, because it is the more economical way to get what we need. Medicare subs can cost you anywhere from $150 to $350 a month. You may have peace of mind because you'll say, well, my Medigap plan pays for everything. Once I pay that $300 a month, I don't have to pay for anything else. I don't get any more bills. That's fine, but I don't know a lot of people that want to put an extra $300 a month, create a bill, $300 a month for something you may or may not use. Because if you're still fairly young, you're not using it, but it's going to be a monthly bill. Mm-hmm. And so people who do have Medigap and supplements, I even help them move out of those plans into Medicare, just because it's just financially the right thing to do. It's just a better thing to do financially.
So let me add something quickly because we're running out of time. I think in addition to what you said, and I've been dealing with veterans for going on 10 years now in my organization. Number one, we are underserved. We have a lack of information. And number two is, like I said earlier, particularly when you're dealing with veterans, you have to keep telling them over and over, because they don't, first time it just kind of passes over and people don't get it. And but I totally agree with you, and that there are people against it, but there are also people that just don't understand it. And that is great that you are a serious advocate for it. And I decided that I need to talk to this. so you'll be hearing from me.
Hey, Mr. Dupree, why don't you tell our listeners, give them your contact information again, because we really want to advocate your business to our veterans. So please share your contact information again with our listeners.
Okay, so my email is sunjia.dupree@gmail.com. And I want to spell my first name. Sunjia is SUNJIA.Dupree, DUPREE @gmail.com. So email is great. And then I also mentioned you could send me a text message with your name and just saying, hey, I need to speak with you, and your contact information. You can text that to me at 404-667-7798. And on Facebook and Instagram, I'm Sunjia, SUNJIA Jackson.
Well, Ms. Jackson, I want to let you know, Miss Dupree. I'm sorry, Miss Dupree.
No, you're fine. Hey, I was born in Jackson. It's okay.
Just want to let our listeners know that, this show has been recorded, and we're right now on Facebook live stream, but individuals will be able to go and see the archive show on YouTube under WCEG Network. So, you're going to be out. People
Okay.
will be able to go
Perfect.
back and check it. So, we want to let our listeners know that they can go and share this show with others that missed it. And you can also share it with your client base, because you provided us some outstanding information in regards to what veterans and their families need to know.
Okay, I want to tell you two things. I know we have 4 minutes left. So the first thing I want to tell you is the origin of my name, Sunjia. My uncle served in the Vietnam War, and his love interest was a Vietnamese woman. She was killed during the war, and I was born. And so I was given her first name and her middle name, Sunjia LeNoir. And so I say that because I know they think Black people are just extra and we just got these extravagant names for no reason. But I just wanted to share the origin of my name.
That's
And
good.
Thank you.
That's good.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, my mom wasn't just extra.
No.
Not at all.
Not at all. Not at all.
Also, I will be contacting you to schedule a Zoom presentation to my group, and I will do that. And just before we go off, I would like to remind our listeners of the Senate Bill 1491 in the House, down payment assistance for the affordable housing in the Monday at 3 p.m. at the state capitol. People will be down there to support it. So we ask people to support that. And we are running out of time, Anthony.
Yeah, well, before we do that, I got to give a couple of shout outs. Number one, I got to give a shout out to our frat brother, Carl Lee, for introducing me to Miss Dupree. And I want to say thanks to Carl and thank you for accepting our invitation. And lastly, for my part, we got to give a big shout out to our kahuna, our queen, Penny Rogers Herman.
Yes, we do.
She is the catalyst behind what we do. We love her. We appreciate her. She works hard. And we also want to give a shout out to Ms. Vivian Greer, who's she's recuperating right now, but we just want to let you know, Vivian, we love you. We miss you. And everything's going to be okay. And we just want to say thank you. Thank you very much.
With that, we are out of time. So thank you. And to our
listeners, thank you so much for having me.
Have a good weekend, a safe weekend. And Anthony and Herman will be back in 2 weeks.
See you then. Take care.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Take care.
Bye.
Thank you.